Hello, Cryptoland. I'm Justin. It's Friday, and this is the ARK Crypto Podcast, episode 70. Well, it is already that time again, another Everything You Missed episode. But this time, I have some cool announcements related to the update process that we're doing each month. More detailed, more links, and really just join everything together. There's been a lot going on, so we wanted to show that with an upgraded update style, and you're going to be getting more information on the ARK.io monthly update articles. So it'll seem more like the podcast we've been doing in 2020, recapping everything that happens each month, but we're also going to start establishing a presence on our YouTube channel with monthly updates there as well. So we're going to have monthly update videos. You might be watching it right now on YouTube with the ARK Crypto Podcast as the audio for that at podcast.ark.io. But the videos will have more visuals, graphics, screenshots, links, web pages, the visual things that tie into what I'll be talking about here today. So moving forward, we're going to be releasing the ARK.io monthly update article on blog.ark.io. Then we're going to be releasing the monthly update in audio form on the ARK Crypto Podcast at podcast.ark.io. And then we'll be combining that with visuals and video in the YouTube channel at youtube.ark.io and the monthly update there. So with all that said, let's get into it because there's been a lot going on and we have no time to waste. So get the music out of here. All right, so I'm going to kick off this update with remarks where I put together a type of quote that kind of sums up a month and gives you like a real top-down approach. Of course, this last month of March was really the big ramp up of the current health crisis we're in right now. So this quote is acknowledging the people doing everything they can to manage that crisis. And the quote is this: "We'd like to acknowledge everyone in various industries working hard around the world on the front lines of this health crisis as it became center stage for the entire world during March. While cases of the disease rapidly increased worldwide, medical staff, first responders, and essential workers are doing more than their part to combat the epidemic and keep the world running. We know that some of these people are also within the ARK team and community. We sincerely thank you for what you're doing, and I'm sure they also appreciate everyone else doing their part by staying home when possible and engaging in social distancing." All right, so let's move into the top tweet of March. This is the tweet that was tweeted in March by ARK.io at ARK Ecosystem on Twitter that got the most likes. And it's about ARK Messenger, a fully autonomous and secure chat service built entirely as an ARK bridge chain, developed by an ARK community member and funded by ARK Grants program. So you'll hear more about ARK Messenger and ARK Grants later on in this episode, and that's going to be a good time. All right, so moving on to exchange news. The ARK crypto asset, which is the ticker ARK, ARK, is available on over 30 exchanges, and more exchanges are being added all the time. For a full list, visit ark.io/exchanges. Content created by ARK.io is not investment advice, nor a solicitation of investment. Consult your financial advisor, and also see disclaimers at the end of the podcast episode. Let's move into the Spend app for exchange news for March. This recent month, we'd like to highlight the Spend app with Visa-backed debit cards, which seamlessly converts cryptocurrencies like ARK into fiat at the time of purchase. They recently held an AMA where they announced the scaling back of consumer services down to just the United States and Canada, while simultaneously going hard on B2B services globally. This means that cards will only be issued to residents of those countries as a B2C service. However, banking services for those countries are expanding soon, offering FDIC-insured DDA accounts, allowing customers to use Spend services just like a normal bank account, direct deposit and all, with crypto services added on top. This would make Spend a one-stop shop for financial services in both fiat and crypto. You can view the Spend AMA transcript answering many questions using the link in the article and in show notes here. If you need a crypto card available with ARK outside of the US or Canada, check out crypto.com, Visa card and crypto services. They are currently offering cards for the United States, the United Kingdom, and Singapore, with more on the way, I would presume. So next up in exchange news, we have Switchain Exchange, ARK Desktop Wallet plugin. Switchain Exchange has created a plugin to use directly inside the ARK Desktop Wallet, allowing users to interact with Switchain services without leaving the wallet application. Really handy, really convenient, easy 1, 2, 3 process. And you can see that plugin in the ARK Desktop Wallet. Download it at wallet.ark.io. And there's a tweet announcement going along with that. So next up, let's move into the team news for March. ARK was founded by an elite team of blockchain experts and enthusiasts from around the globe. Now, with more than 30 core team members from 12 different countries, we take decentralization to a whole new level. For team news in March, ARK hired Elaine Egan as Community Engagement Manager. Elaine has joined us as our new Community Engagement Manager. She will be working across our social media and communication platforms and answering your questions, as well as keeping you up to date with our latest news pushes. When asked why she was interested in joining us, Elaine replied by saying she was originally drawn to ARK by the open and friendly nature of the community. In her own words, she says, "I'm interested in the way ARK makes it easy for anyone to spin up a blockchain. Why should developers have all the fun?" Why indeed. We couldn't be happier to have Elaine join the ARK team and offer her skills and talents in furthering the ARK ecosystem. We believe she will bring a new perspective to our growing community and has a lot to offer to our communications and outreach strategy as well. Catch her on slack.ark.io at Elaine, ARK team in brackets, and on reddit.ark.io as Elaine Cara. You can view the full article and learn more about Elaine using the link from the monthly update. So next up, in the monthly update, we've got ARK Technology Usage, all right? The ARK Core framework is an open source toolbox that developers can utilize to power various use cases using blockchain technology. The well-documented technology stack, coupled with easy blockchain creation tools such as the ARK Deployer, make it simple for developers to dive into this emerging technology. So let's talk about NOS development update. Last month, we took a closer look at BC Diploma, showcasing ARK technology at the University of Lille's Technical Day. And this month, we are highlighting a Netherlands-based project called NOS, building with the ARK Core. NOS offers intuitive blockchain-powered tools for users and a decentralized portal where apps can be listed and discovered, managed entirely by voter-elected curators. The project released an update in March touching on mainnet launch timing, testnet upgrades, and code updates. Notably, they implemented staking logic updates by way of a grace period and power-up period for staked NOS. You can view the full NOS update in monthly update. Hey, what gives? We want to highlight and discuss more projects that are utilizing ARK technology in their custom live use cases. As such, we recently evolved the Powered by ARK program. We will be providing more information on this before April is over. Stay tuned on all of our channels, and you know you want to. Moving right along, we are moving into the ARK Wallet Updates. The ARK desktop and mobile wallets are highly secure. The desktop wallet even integrates with the Ledger Nano hardware wallet devices. They are extremely easy to use and launch instantly with no need to sync. Plus, with the ARK public network having 8-second block times, you can even see your transactions occur in near real time. Whether you're checking your balance, sending and receiving funds, or voting for your preferred delegate, ARK wallets make it as easy as possible. So let's start off with updates for the desktop wallet in March. ARK releases desktop wallet version 2.9.0 with major speed and performance improvements. This release focused on performance improvements and a major overhaul of the underlying system that takes care of reading, requesting, and saving data from the inside and outside of the wallet. One of the initial things you will notice is much quicker loading times when operating the wallet. On one of our slowest testing machines that had a lot of profiles, networks, wallets, and installed plugins, it went from 40 seconds to 12 seconds for the initial load. This is due to how we re-engineered and optimized underlying processes. Once opened, you will see that switching between wallets, tabs, charts, and while retrieving data, the experience is much smoother than with the previous release. So what's new at a glance in this version of the ARK Desktop Wallet? Let's take a look. We've got plugin, images, and slider. We now have implemented a way for plugin developers to also include screenshot previews of the actual plugin itself. Images can also be clicked to expand. Also, add links to multi-payment list on show transaction screen. The recipients of multi-payment transactions are now linked to from the show transaction screen, and you can click on them directly. Also, improved Ledger hardware wallet user experience. Major user experience improvements to the Ledger hardware wallet device interactions, going from caching, updating in the background, and fixing some reported bugs. For example, disconnecting Ledger when rejecting a transaction, that was fixed, among other things. So great improvement on that. This is just a shortened list of improvements for the ARK Desktop Wallet 2.9. For a full list of improvements, check the monthly update. Also, in March, ARK releases Desktop Wallet 2.9.1, featuring expanded plugin usability. With this release, we expanded the plugin manager's usability by exposing more internals to developers, adding a new language plugin section, and much more. So let's take a look at what's new at a glance there. ARK Grants indication in plugin entry. Users will know which plugins are funded by the new ARK Grants program, which you'll hear about later on in this episode, awarding ARK to developers for their ideas. Also, allow plugins to add languages. It adds the languages permission, which allows plugins to add new languages. Very cool. Also, allows setting up default fee type. Adds a new option to the profile addition page, which allows the user to specify the default transaction fee type used, either last or average. So now, as a user of the wallet, you do not have to go in and choose every time your preferred fee type. You can just set a default in your settings, which is really cool. Again, this is a shortened list of improvements. Check monthly update. Now, here's a note. There's a new transaction export plugin, which is available within the ARK desktop wallet, developed by Delegate Dated and funded by ARK Grants. You're going to hear more about that later on in this episode, so stay tuned. It's really cool, especially since we are in April. My US listeners know what I'm talking about, all right? So next up, we've got mobile wallet updates during March. ARK releases Mobile Wallet 1.8.0 featuring enhanced developer support. This version focused on improving user experience with new input fields and making development easier with updated dependencies, better test coverage, and new features like developer mode, Angular Storybook, and more. So what's new at a glance here? Well, we've got unified input fields. Users will have a shared and identical experience across different ARK products. Now, the user experience is more uniform between wallet types. Nice. Next up, we've got added developer mode. So this mode unlocks features that will help us and developers, of course, debug errors found by users. And also implemented Angular Storybook. Storybook is like a web editor where you can construct components and their interactions in isolation and see visually how they work. So there's some screenshots of that in the article linked in monthly update, but these improvements to the ARK mobile wallet are going to be great for developers. I love it. Let's move on to the ARK Core news in this month's update episode. ARK Core is a lightweight but very powerful code base that functions as the base component of the entire ARK ecosystem. Authored in Typescript, the ARK Core's modular architecture empowers developers to modify, configure, or extend all aspects of the code base with ease. Now, taken from the development report, there were 8 minor core releases during March, starting on March 4th and ending on March 25th, starting with 2.6.21 and ending with 2.6.31. So the core is always under improvement and the code is handed off to the public space. The delegates on the ARK public network accept the changes and deploy them to their nodes. It's all working real smooth. So what else is up with ARK Core news? Well, check this out. We've got ARK Deployer, which is now updated to deploy a 2.6 chain. The ARK Deployer, a simple tool that allows developers from all walks of life to deploy a blockchain in 3 easy steps, has been updated to deploy a Core 2.6 chain as of last month. This means the ARK Deployer will now deploy the newest version of the ARK Core with your newly created chain, including new features and transaction types as outlined in the ARK blog. And you can read more about 2.6 in the blog article linked in Monthly Update, and you can see the tweet in Monthly Update too. There's a link. And that's what's going on with Deployer. You can see what's up with Deployer at deployer.ark.io and play around with the user interface. You can play around with the documentation to learn more about how to deploy a new blockchain. It's really easy, 3 steps, boom. Let's move on to Core V3 blog series new articles. Yeah, this is a cool one, a really cool one. And you should check more into this if you're a developer curious about blockchain technology. We recently made ARK Core version 3 code public, and we've begun moving Core V3 through internal development and testing cycles. To celebrate, we have been publishing technical articles, taking a closer look at it. 1 is about infrastructure, 2 is about Bootstrap and events, 3 is about kernel and services. So you should definitely take a closer look at these if you're a developer interested. Boom. So let's move on to the development report. The ARK Monthly Development Report covers public releases among ARK open source projects, all pull requests, open, closed, and merged, all issues opened and closed in every ARK ecosystem public repo, and the number of contributors during that month, the number of new stargazers, and total lines of GitHub code added or deleted. The report has intricate links to GitHub repos, events, and releases. We'd like to extend a huge thanks to all of our contributors. Now you can see the development report linked in Monthly Update. So next up, we have the network report. Now, this report will tell you what's going on with the actual ARK public network and how many transactions are occurring, how many transactions of different types. Now, there's a lot of numbers in here. I'm not going to just read them all off. You can check them out in monthly update. But there's this one that I like to highlight here, which is that 2,476 unique wallets sent an outgoing transaction during March. So that's the number there. Also, the number of voting wallets with more than one ARK in them is 18,827. So that's a lot of voters. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a lot of human people, but that's the number of ARK addresses that are voting. And the total amount of voted ARK is about 84 million right now for March, of course. That number is probably different here in April as we are releasing this episode about a week later, but there you go. So let's move on to France activities. All right. Now, ARK is incorporated as an SCIC in France under the name ARK Ecosystem SCIC. This gives ARK a leg up when interfacing with the legacy financial system. This SCIC is the first of its kind for crypto in France, which is really cool. I like to mention that when talking to people about our project. Now, on March 4th, ARK Ecosystem SCIC President Francois Thorens attended a meeting at the French National Assembly with Danielle Brulebois, MP for Jura. The objective of this meeting was to converse on ARK's innovative technology and discuss new ways of thinking about blockchain and on the taxation of SCICs. Also, on March 6th, Francois Thorens attended the official launch event of ADAN, an association of blockchain technology companies designed to further the mission of the technology in France. Members of the association gathered around the topics of the state of digital assets in France and Europe. The event's goal was also to help with the practical implementation of the new requirements applicable to token issuers and service providers on digital assets of the Pact Law. The event also covered how to improve the existing legal and tax system and to propose targeted support measures to the public authorities. ARK Ecosystem is a founding member of ADAN, and more information on ADAN is available in the blog article linked here, which is a big article that everybody liked to read when we announced that ARK.io was a founding member of ADAN. It's a really good article. You should check it out if you're interested in what's going on with Europe and blockchains, because they have I think a dozen or so founding members, maybe 11, and they're big players in the space like Consensus France and Ledger and more. So you can learn more about ADAN in monthly update. So next up, I like to talk about this section called ARK Timeline. ARKtimeline.com is a community resource built and maintained by the ARK Community Committee. The entire history of all ARK achievements and accomplishments are available there, and they are both sortable and filterable. So ARKtimeline.com really helps me put these updates together, and I have a section here for things that aren't included elsewhere in the article and elsewhere in the podcast and video. So for March, we're actually all caught up and everything's included in this update article. So there are no miscellaneous entries to report here, but you can learn about what ARK's been doing for the past few years since its inception at arktimeline.com. It's a really cool website. You can check it out. So next up, we've got videos going on during March. Technically the beginning of April, but who's splitting hairs? ARK has a growing YouTube channel that features technical discussions and updates, motion graphic explainers, community videos, and crypto adventure vlogs. Watch our videos at youtube.ark.io and subscribe to our channel in one click using the special link in the monthly update. ARK Grants launch video. Let's talk about that. During this last month, ARK.io launched ARK Grants, a program funded by 1 million ARK aimed at funding developers for utilizing ARK technology. ARK Grants will be further discussed in that section of this update article and episode. But take it straight from me. Here's the launch video. Listen to this.
Hey everyone, I'm Justin Renkin, Senior Brand Manager for ARK.io. And today I want to talk to you about ARK Grants. ARK Grants is a new program designed to incentivize developers to build innovative new projects using the ARK Core framework. You can use the program to get funding to build a proof of concept, a wallet plugin, or even a full production-ready application. Not only that, but the program has been seeded with 1 million ARK in funding to help show our dedication to growing the ARK ecosystem and provide new and exciting ways to utilize ARK technology. Applying has never been simpler. First, submit an application to grants@ark.io. You can see guidelines and an example application by visiting grants.ark.io. Next, the ARK team will review your application with you so that you can take any feedback and refine your pitch. Then, wait for results from the ARK Project Review Board. Once a decision is made, we'll reach out to you with the next steps. If you have an idea for an amazing decentralized application, a new use case for the ARK Public Network, or something really great you'd like to build as a plugin for the ARK Desktop Wallet, there's never been a better time to get started. We can't wait to see what you come up with. What are you waiting for? Go to grants.ark.io and submit an application today.
Nice. Hey, what gives? If you were expecting another ARK Adventure video for this past month, it's on hiatus while we all stay at home and engage in social distancing to get through this global health crisis. But don't worry, we will be making other types of video content, and hopefully ARK Adventures will be back very soon. Watch our videos at youtube.ark.io. Okay, so next up we've got podcasts. Now you already know about the podcast if you're listening to the podcast right now, but if you're on YouTube watching the video of this audio of the podcast, we have a podcast. The ARK Crypto Podcast releases weekly episodes all about ARK. It's not always just news like this. It's also deep dives into concepts, interviews, and more. There is usually a 30-minute runtime for each episode, and new episodes come out every Friday. You can subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, CastBox, and more. And you can see details, external links, and show notes for all episodes at podcast.ark.io. So during March, there were 3 episodes released. Number 66, which is reacting to the Steemit acquisition story with Ray Alvarez, Strategic Partnerships Manager of ARK.io, and Dean Van Dukteren, who's the founder and CEO of NOS Building on ARK Core. That is a very interesting story featuring the Steemit community and Justin Sun. And there's, I guess it's safe to say there's a lot of drama with it, and we discuss what happened. Also, episode 67, it's the ARK Core Values Deep Dive, where I talk about all the different types of projects and products that ARK is building, along with community developers all around the world. And we have 6 ARK Core Values. This episode covers speed. So I talk about how speed plays a role in all of the ARK projects and products. Very cool. Also, we've got episode 68, which is questions and answers on the ARK project vision. So there was an AMA held on Atomic Wallet's Telegram channel. And 3 of us at the ARK team were involved in that AMA. We could not answer all the questions, so we cataloged all the questions and answered them later. And I reported and answered those questions on this episode. So it's a really good episode if you're kind of wondering, like, what's the point of ARK and why ARK instead of a different project and all that. That's good, episode 68. So let's move into the community service spotlight. Now, I'm going to share with you some of the activities that are taking place in the ARK community. So it's not just about what ARK.io is up to, it's also about what the ARK community is up to. Now, some members mentioned in the community service spotlight are ARK delegates who secure the ARK network and maintain community services. Their inclusion here is in no way an endorsement from ARK.io to vote for any specific delegates, and you should always do your own research and consider all the options when voting for a delegate. You can do so at arkdelegates.live. ARK.io does not run the ARK public network. So here's the community service spotlight for this month. Delegate Fun continued to run ARK games online with daily ARK prizes. You can also play those games directly inside the wallet. Delegates Biz Classic and Dell ran ARK faucets, and you can just go to a website, click a thing, and you'll get a small amount of ARK, and then you can come back and keep doing that. That's what a faucet is. Also, Delegate Alessio located and reported vulnerabilities as part of the delegate service for that delegate. Delegates Goose and ARKmoon continue their service, ARK CSV Generator and Income Estimator. So this is a website sister product of the new ARK transaction exporting plugin that was released this month. You'll learn more about that later in this episode. But their service, which is called ark.dpos.tax, that is a website that offers some more advanced tools as it pertains to like gains and losses and tracking stuff. Although it's not to be construed as tax advice, it is a helpful tool for people who just want to learn more about what's been going on during specific time periods when they're analyzing other wallets and stuff. I've used it. It's really cool. Also, Delegate Jarnik ran a special bounty service. You can get involved with that and have ideas for maybe creative projects or small development stuff. Really, anything you can think of that helps ARK. And if Jarunik likes it, then he will approve it and give you ARK for it. It'll get funded. Also, Delegate Cryptology continued operating the ARK Tipper tip bot. This is a very cool tip bot that is compatible with Reddit and Twitter. I use it all the time. I use it to pay people in the ARK Community Committee. I use it for tips. You can send stickers with it. You can send codes to redeem stickers with it. It's a pretty cool tip bot. Check it out at arktipper.com. Also, Delegate Yakety Yak released German versions of the ARK Crypto podcast episodes. This is really cool. Delegate Yakety Yak just summarizes the episode content in German and then releases that for the German community. Nice. Also, Multicloud4U co-hosted a webinar with me where I tuned in remotely and gave a short presentation on ARK. And then Anjani, who is the host of the webinar, proceeded to discuss ARK as it pertains to developers. It was very cool. Thank you very much, Multicloud4U, for having ARK on and having me on and spreading the good word about blockchain. That was awesome. Also, Delegate Superskewo ran ARK trivia activity during March. So he asked some questions and then people had to answer the questions. They were kind of like riddles. It was nice. So as a final note here, the old arkdelegates.io domain, which is the website that you go to if you want to learn about ARK delegates, their services, their news and updates, blah, blah, blah. That domain was actually replaced by arkdelegates.live. So if you're used to going to arkdelegates.io, it is now arkdelegates.live. The community service spotlight pulls entries from reddit.ark.io. To get something featured here, simply make a post there and subscribe there for more community content and discussions. Nice. Okay, let's move into notable Reddit posts during March. The ARK Ecosystem subreddit is a great place to seek ARK knowledge, and you can always find new and engaging content there. New to ARK? Check out my Welcome to ARK Reddit post in monthly update. Here are some notable posts. We had a technical support request about installing the ARK Desktop Wallet. We had a tech help question about encryption passwords in the ARK Desktop Wallet. We had a question about buying ARK with a credit card, question about delegate voting strategy, a clarification about ARK team funds moving to multisig. Some people in the community noticed that the ARK team funds address, all the ARK in it moved to a different address, and people were like, why is that? And we quickly responded by letting people know that we have set up multisig for ARK funds because it was implemented in the new live version of ARK Core 2.6 as one of the added features there. So we're using it and it works. You can browse more content and contribute your own voice to the ARK subreddit at reddit.ark.io. You may even receive an ARK tip from a community member using Delegate Cryptology's intuitive ARK Tipper Reddit tip bot. Not bad. So let's move into AMAs. AMAs in March. Well, here's a general overview of AMAs. They're also known as Ask Me Anythings, and they're periodically conducted where ARK team members answer questions by community members and developers, as well as third-party organizations, taking questions from the community too. Now for March, AMAs did not take place, but there are more on the horizon. Namely, there is one on the 9th of April. So, did you miss it by the time I told you about it right now? Yeah, just by one day. But don't worry, there's more AMAs on the way. We had Simon for the Internet of Things with ARK, and we had Alex with the ARK Desktop Wallet. AMAs are cool. You can check out the transcripts of past AMAs at answers.ark.dev, and you can read about all of what happened in each AMA. Nice. So next up, this is what we've got going on. We've got the Bounty and Security Program. All right. ARK runs monthly bounty programs for coders who contribute to our code base on the ARK Ecosystem GitHub. Independent programmers can work side by side with our international team and make the ARK toolkit even more powerful and stable. In this recent month, we'd like to acknowledge some of the top earners of ARK bounties. We have GitHub user Dated, who earned 870 USD with a 20% bonus on top. We have GitHub user Alessio DF, who earned $250 USD and a 10% bonus on top. And we've got GitHub user Rigwild, who earned $120 USD and a 5% bonus on top. But also, GitHub user Dated earned an additional $400 bounty by creating a solution for developers to publish ARK Desktop Wallet language packs coupled with a language plugin generator. That's pretty cool. And also, GitHub user Dean Press earned a special $200 bounty by identifying an issue in ARK Core where discrepancies could occur between pool and database state. So sometimes you can get more than the standard like tier 1 through 5 amounts for bounties. They stack up. The more bounties you claim, the more ARK you earn. And some of these bounties are small because the tasks are small. So if you just want to get your toes wet, you can come in and solve 2 issues and like leave forever and get $20 or whatever. And like, there you go. or you can just contribute as much as you need to or want to and get more involved. Also, ARK likes to hire from the pool of international developers who like to contribute to our open source code. So just keep that in mind as well. You can get started earning ARK bounties by visiting bounty.ark.io. So next up, we've got ARK Grants. Yes, finally, you've heard about it. Now you're going to hear about it some more. ARK Grants launched a 1 million ARK fund last month. ARK has always placed a large focus on our community of developers. From our development and security bounties to our previous Tier 0 program, we have a wide range of opportunities for developers to get involved in the community and get paid to contribute to ARK. The ARK Grants program is an expansion and refinement of our current offerings, providing a war chest of funds to show our dedication to our community and the ARK ecosystem. Technologies and frameworks, applicable project types, and proposal submission process can be found in the ARK Grants launch article. All right. So here's what's going on with ARK Grants. It funds things, and it's not our ideas that get funded. It's your ideas that get funded. And you submit a proposal and say, I want to use ARK to do this. I want to make a proof of concept that shows this. I want to make a desktop wallet plugin that does that. And you submit the proposal, and then it gets funded. So you can check out the details on that at grants.ark.io. But let's look at what's been funded already, okay? We've got ARK Messenger, which is funded by ARK Grants. With ARK Messenger, it's a fully autonomous and secure chat service built entirely on ARK technology, and it's now officially complete. Built by a community member and ARK delegate Lemmy, ARK Messenger runs on its own customized bridge chain. In addition, ARK Messenger also makes use of ARK's generic transaction interface to handle the processing of chat messages. Now, there's a full launch article for ARK Messenger that you can visit, linked in the monthly update. All right. As a developer, now listen to this closely, you can explore the mechanics of the project and apply them to your own idea through a blog article series. And this is a very detailed and complete, cohesive blog article series that breaks down ARK Messenger component by component. There are 3 parts linked in monthly update. All right. So more things were funded by ARK Grants since it got launched. ARK Transaction Export Plugin, funded by ARK Grants, was released. The ARK Transaction Export Plugin is officially complete. Boom. Extracting all the necessary information from your past transactions just got a whole lot easier. Built by Delegate Dated, the ARK Transaction Export Plugin is a simple and efficient way to extract and log transaction information from directly within the ARK desktop wallet. Now, for details, features, and screenshots, there's a launch article. Check it out in monthly update. So next up, I want to briefly touch on and shout out to the ARK Community Committee. The ARK Community Committee creates and deploys community resources through anonymous and sponsored ARK donations. Completed ACC projects include ARKTimeline.com, which I already mentioned, all ARK achievements and accomplishments in one place, searchable, filterable, and linkable by the query string. That's pretty cool. Also, ARKThoughts.com, community opinions on 30 ARK concepts, including the core, wallets, Explorer, Smart Bridge technology, and media channels. Also, Crypto Trivia Night questions, where everybody came together to create a database of trivia questions about cryptocurrency, not just ARK, but all the different types of crypto and just various crypto concepts. That was a really cool project. During this recent month, though, the committee continued work on codename Project Videre 2, consisting of market research, with chatter visible on discord.ark.io committee channel. If you want to join the ACC and earn ARK, specifically, we do projects that do not require writing a single line of code. It's just people who want to help, and we work together. You can locate me by doing @Justin _ dice on discord.ark.io. You will see it up in there. Next up, we've got the ARK Community Fund. Small shout out there as well. The ACF is like the community version of ARK Grants, okay? It's not managed by ark.io, but if you have an idea for an ARK project, large or small, and you're looking for funding, consider submitting a proposal to the ARK Community Fund for review. Might be a suitable backup. If you submit something to grants and it doesn't work out with the proposal, you can take it to another backup plan, which is the ACF. The ARK Community Fund started as a community initiative, and the elected board reviews ideas and projects that enhance ARK. Their website is arkcommunity.fund. Also, here's a side note about this. The ACF is running some giveaways on the ARK Community Fund channel of slack.ark.io. Slack is like the giant real-time chat system where all the ARK community members gather to discuss ARK in real time. So if you're not joined up there, do it up at slack.ark.io. There you go. Whoa, we made it all the way through. Thanks for sticking with me all this whole way, and I appreciate you being interested in learning about ARK news. Let's talk about what's next, okay? So now that ARK Core 2.6 is live on the ARK Public Network, which went swimmingly, by the way, the ARK team has updated its flagship product, the ARK Deployer, to deploy 2.6 chains. Remember when I mentioned that earlier, right? That means that anyone who's interested in an easy way to create and customize a blockchain will also be able to take advantage of new features and transaction types. However, the development of the ARK Deployer has not stopped there. In fact, massive new powers are coming to the ARK Deployer, and development is nearing completion. Improvements include one-click deployment, which means one click, blockchain ready, running, nodes everywhere, web services integrated, like awesome stuff going on with what we're developing in the background, all right? Bridge chain founders will also be able to manage their chain after the fact from within the all-new ARK Deployer front-end interface, okay? So even deploying future nodes of an already established chain will be possible easier than ever before. Like you will be blown away by the new version of the deployer. It's going to be awesome. This is one of the major focal points for ARK.io as we move through this quarter. So stay tuned on the ARK blog, blog.ark.io, and the ARK roadmap, roadmap.ark.io, for further updates. Now, in the monthly update article and in the YouTube description, there's the monthly update link. There's a feedback survey, okay, that you can click on and spend 3 minutes of your time to tell us what you think about what we're doing over at ARK.io, where we can improve, what we're doing well, how's our communication going. So you can go and take that 3-minute feedback survey. We would very much appreciate it. We read through all of the comments and submissions. So how can you get involved with ARK? Well, here's a quick list of what your first steps might be to get involved with ARK. Join our community on Slack, slack.ark.io, Reddit, reddit.ark.io. Reddit has been growing in recent months. Not bad. You can launch an ARK community service of your own. You can contribute code and earn ARK. You can apply for an ARK grant to fund your idea now that ARK Grants is out with 1 million ARK behind it. Nice. You can learn more with ARK documentation, which is excellently laid out. Multiple Git books are set up with different like regions, I guess you could say, like different realms, like exchange documentation, the white paper, of course, guides and tutorials at learn.ark.dev. Documentation is awesome. You should take a look at it ASAP. You can launch an ARK node and campaign for forging status. And you can also create a blockchain in 3 simple steps. All of those links are available at the bottom of the monthly update. And with that said, we're looking forward to April. Stay safe, stay home, social distance. We're going to get through it. And I will see you next time. That's going to do it for this episode of the ARK Crypto Podcast. You can subscribe and read transcripts of episodes and see show notes and all the links and all that stuff at podcast.ark.io. You can also subscribe direct on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, and CastBox. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at ARK Ecosystem, where you can stream our episodes directly inside of our tweets. How cool is that? We'll see you next time.
The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform the listeners. The host is not a financial advisor, and this podcast is not financial advice. Listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research prior to making any investments. Guests who speak in this podcast express their own opinions, experiences, and conclusions, and do not represent the beliefs or ideas of ARK.io or the ARK Crypto Podcast. A guest appearance on this podcast assumes no partnership or pending partnership with ARK.io or any associated entity. A guest appearance is by no means an endorsement or solicitation by the ARK Crypto Podcast to purchase a specific cryptocurrency at a specific time or at all. The ARK Crypto Podcast will never solicit any investment from the listener, nor will it ever contact the listener to solicit an investment. Any paid advertisements on the ARK Crypto Podcast will be clearly disclosed as such. This podcast is available for private, non-commercial use only, Advertising which is incorporated into, placed in association with, or targeted towards the content of this podcast is forbidden. You may not edit, modify, or redistribute this podcast. The ARK Crypto Podcast assumes no liability for any of your activities in connection with this podcast or for your use of this podcast in connection with your website, computer, or playing device.